Arcade UFO, located in the capital of Texas, Austin, Texas. It's rare to find an arcade across the United States, and this is not your Chuck E. Cheese or Dave & Buster's where you're cashing your tickets to win a prize. This is a traditional Japanese-style arcade and home to Austin, Texas FGC. I visit Arcade UFO on its last day before its big move. Coming from an arcade background and seeing the closures of arcades across the United States, I wanted to find out what makes Arcade UFO so special. With Arcade UFO being open for over 14 years, it's closing its doors at its original location. I wanted to document what makes this place tick, learn about the history and the community that keeps this place going. With the blessing of Rob, one of its owners of Arcade UFO, I'll dive into the history of Arcade UFO and talk to some of the local players of Austin fighting game community to find out what Arcade UFO means to them. With the closure of Einstein Arcade in 2008, Austin was in need of an arcade. Ryan Harvey, an FGC veteran, opened up Arcade UFO. Ryan, who has traveled to Japan and loved everything fighting game, was inspired and opened up Arcade UFO near the University of Texas, which was originally a laundromat. It was the perfect location and the building was small. Ryan's vision was heavily inspired by traditional Japanese arcade, with fighting game and rhythm games being the main focus. Under new management since 2017, 3 friends who often visited Arcade UFO decided to buy it. With their love of rhythm games and needing more space for games, it was time for a move. Let's hear from the players on rivalries, friendships, and favorite memories created here at Arcade UFO.
What's up? My name is Jarrett Austin. I go by Magneto 1080p, and I am a Street Fighter V player, amongst other things. So I got to Arcade UFO about 2010, a year after Street Fighter 4's release. Arcade UFO was one of the only arcades in the Southwest that had legitimate Street Fighter 4 cabinets. And I remember coming down here for the first time, and it was insanely hype. Justin Wong was here. There were guys from all over that I had just seen in YouTube videos, grinding it out, playing. And 2 things I remember. Number one, what everybody's gonna say, like, I got my ass kicked really hard. But also, like, the investment, it cost $1 to play. So we were putting up Sacagawea gold coins on the cab. Everybody talks about putting up a quarter. I was like, had a trash server job at the time. And so I was putting up $1 to sit down and get mixed by Shin Chang Zakuma until my life bar was gone. And I had people behind me like, oh, that was a cool combo, dude. I'm like, yeah, it was, man. Cool combo. Reaching back, and then all of a sudden $20 is gone in like 20 minutes. So definitely one of my first impressions was just getting that ass beat really hard.
My name is Franklin. Gamer tag is Blasphemous Black, which is Blasphemous for short. I've been coming here for about 7 years since I moved out here. I'm from Arizona originally. And this arcade, it means a lot to me because, you know, like, we had a gaming place, and, you know, back in Cali and I lived there, we had an arcade, but it took a long time until I ever found a place where there was arcades again. And, you know, when I came out here, there were a lot of arcades in Texas, but I was looking around. I went to one place and they were like casuals, you know, they weren't really pressing buttons. But the dude told me, he's like, if you're looking for the scene, man, you want to go to Arcade UFO. So come here, hang out, meet the people, see what games people are playing, figure out what the games are being played. I knew Tekken's being played, so I'm playing Tekken. But I was like, okay, I see there's third strike machines. Then I start learning that we got a pretty strong third strike scene out here. And I'm like, I'm more of an alpha player, but I mean, I guess I'll play it with them. And it's been great learning that game and playing with those guys, you know. And then, like, what else? Just Tekken, anime games. Then I learned there was Marvel players, you know, like, and then, you know, some people don't know the history, you know, Fubar Duck. I, of course, you know, Arcade UFO. Back when they had the Street Fighter 4 cap, Fubar brought that through. It's just, this place has got a lot of history, and just being able to have an arcade that I could come to and get games. And I'm a gamer, so it's not just fighting games for me. Like, if no one's there to play fighting games, I'll go play the racing games. I'll try one of these rhythm games, or I'll just try the claw game, or like I'll do something to entertain myself, you know? This place, what it became for me was just a hangout in a place where I could, you know, start getting a social life together again after switching, you know, multiple states over, and just, this is basically like a huge reset for me. So I didn't have much to go with, but you know, it felt like just playing with these guys, the same thing as playing with my friends back home. But this place is open, and the people here come hang out. People bring some food sometimes, play some games. So, you know, I got no complaints. Like, this was my home away from home until I really got back on my feet. I know what days people are pressing buttons. I know what days people are driving. I know what rhythm game players are gonna show up that I can shoot the shit with. So, yeah, I just like coming away here when I just need to de-stress, and, you know, I'm addicted to the, I am 100% addicted to the rhythmic sound of the buttons is what I say, man. There's a certain therapy. It's like, for me, it's almost like raindrops.
Hi, I'm Ken Reichelderfer Jr. My tag is K Reich Jr. I live here in Austin. I've lived here since 2005, and because of that, I started playing Third Strike competitively in 2006. That's when I started getting into FGC. So obviously, you know, we come here to play games, we come here to compete. But at the end of the day, I feel like 60% of it is probably the community. You know, just the people here are great people. There are people that even come here not to really play games, just to hang out on the porch and just chill, you know, and talk about life. As far as like Third Strike goes, with my scene, whenever we're done playing games, we normally finish up around like 12:30 or 1. We'll go to a nearby bar just a few minutes away, and we'll just sit down, have some brews, and talk to each other about life in general, you know. And then sometimes, like if the arcade's still open after we're done, we'll come back, we'll play some more games. And back then, whenever we did tournaments, we'd have the tournament, go to the bar, come back to the bar, and normally there'd be like some out-of-towners, and we would actually have like a generals tournament, you know, after we've had some drinks. And so it'd normally be like the out-of-towners who would get to pick like who'd be on their team, and yeah, we would just have a good time. But going back to your question, yeah, I think the community is a huge part of the scene, the culture, and what keeps it going.
Hello, my name is Tommy. I go by Tommy Two Step, and here I'm at UFO, and my favorite game, as y'all probably already know, is Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. So I've actually been in the FGC since about 2002, 2003-ish. I had gotten a Dreamcast, and that's where I started playing Third Strike. And at first I didn't really know what I was doing, right? That's whenever you're playing a fighting game, that's kind of how it starts. But you know, as I kind of played more, found out, wow, you know, there seems like there's a lot more to this than just like mashing buttons, right? I saw inevitably the Daigo parry video, and that's when it kind of put me into the loophole of like, wow, there's actually like big tournaments for these type of games, even though I was like a teenager at the time. I was like 12, 13. So that's when I first started kind of learning about the FGC, and then of course you start going to the forums like shoryuken.com. There's a couple others I went to, but yeah, then that's when you start kind of like figuring out about the community, learning about the game, etc. So about that time. Because one of the big reasons I actually moved to Austin was because I knew there was a fighting game scene, and I had taken a break during my years in college. And so I remember that I looked it up. I was like, oh man, this would be so sick to come to. And I came here, and it was on a weird day. It was like on an off day, and there's hardly anybody here, but one of the people that used to work here, Trevor, he was also a Third Strike player, and so that was the first person I connected with. I was like, oh wow, there's other people that are here that are solid that play Third Strike, and so that was the first time. I think the biggest advantage to coming to an arcade, I think it's twofold. I think one is the community. You get to be around people that like the same things. You form friendships here. You can form like really healthy rivalries or training partners here. I think that's one great thing. The other great thing too is I think it actually can make you better, probably a bit faster, because with playing online, right, you play online, you get your matches in, and that's it. You don't really get to break it down unless you know the person, you know, personally. But in the arcade, you know, if you come across a situation that you aren't familiar with, you can immediately ask questions on it and say, hey, in this situation you did this, what's something I can do to counter this, or kind of what was your thought process behind doing this action? And I think that's really beneficial in growing you as a player, because then you can start thinking more and keeping those options in your head while you're competing and learning the game or improving in the game.
Round one, fight!
What up? I am Eric D, go by Judas online. I am the head TO slash leader of the San Antonio FGC. Been doing it now for about 8 years, towards the end of Street Fighter 4. Run all the tournaments and stuff like that up at Otaku Cafe, our wonderful home venue, love it. Up here in Austin tonight to pay respects to Arcade UFO, closing its original location. Historic venue. Brought up a lot of the OG players that I know from Street Fighter 4 and such like that. I've come here once or twice before, not too often unfortunately, but it's a great venue. A lot of great players come through here. Like I said, yeah, like all the OGs that I know now still in the scene that have been able to help me grow locally and, you know, with all of Texas, came through here. You know, this was kind of like the mecca of fighting games in Texas. You know, they had the Street Fighter 4 cabs first, stuff like that. So, you know, love the venue, love the community. San Antonio and Austin are kind of like brothers in how close we are. It's an hour drive. They come to our events, we come to their events. It's a nice, you know, community effort across the Highway 35. Yeah, you know, shout outs to the staff, shout outs to the community leaders. You know, we got UGK, Jared, we got Franklin, Feel Good, all those guys. They've been doing great work locally lately. You know, post-pandemic, we made it back to locals, thankfully. Shout outs to Austin FGC, you know, they're great. Good luck with the move. New venue is always great. First tournament back, you know, we'll be here to support, cause some problems, upset some brackets, we'll be there.
You know, all the memories and stuff are here. All the good times people have had in this building over 14 years, like that's a crazy legacy, right? But I think this new beginning is, we're gonna make more memories. Like I have no doubt in my mind that it's gonna be great. I think everyone's looking towards the move like optimistically.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's all about the people, and the people are what brought me here to begin with. I followed this arcade since 2009, and it was a large reason why I moved to Austin. And I was fortunate enough to make friends with Rob and James and Matt before they bought it and offered me the job. So them and many other friends that are here tonight, I've known for over a decade, and I'm very grateful to have them.
There's a lot of memories here, you know, like, I mean, 14 years is a long time. Like, for me personally, like, so I'll give a more generalized answer. There have been many times where I've been out on this porch, they've closed up shop at 2 a.m., and then I've literally been on this porch till 5 a.m. talking with people. Shoot, last night I was out here till 4 a.m. So, yeah, just again, it all comes back to community. For a more like personal moment, there was a time where a Japanese player came through playing Third Strike. Gesu Yaro, I believe is his name. And he had a very solid Ken. So good. I got one game off him out of like 50 or 60 games that I played. But yeah, having him come down and just getting to play people outside of the normal scene is really fun. So I'm glad that we have a big name to ourselves, to where like when travelers are here in town, they have a place to find us.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say the management that took over for Ryan Harvey, thank you. You dealt with COVID. You've dealt with being in a sometimes volatile part of downtown. You've dealt with human beings that have ups and downs and highs and lows. And you've created, like I said, a safe, fun, competitive environment for all of us to escape to. No matter what's going on, this place has been a sanctuary for people who enjoy fighting games and rhythm games and whatever else you're into. And I can only assume that you're gonna operate with the same maturity, dedication, and grace that you operated this venue with. And it's just thank you. From the bottom of my heart, this place has been my escape for most of my adult life. I've learned lessons here that I'm gonna take with me for the rest of my life. I've made friends that I would die for, slamming buttons and cursing their names. And I just couldn't ask for a better venue to appreciate my hobby. Thank you so much. I wanna go win this fucking tournament.
You are dead! Oh, what are you doing? Quit dropping. Stop dropping, Cobb! Oh, you're finna die. Open up! Oh my gosh, it works out. This is how it starts.
The arcade scene has been a big part of my life since 2005. So whenever I had a new home to go to, you know, I definitely made an effort to come out for sure.
Been a home for me, literally a home since 2017. Spend more time here than almost anyone, and I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah, you know, shout outs to the staff, shout outs to the community leaders. You know, we got UGK, Jared, we got Franklin, Feel Good, all those guys. They've been doing great work locally lately. You know, post-pandemic, we made it back to locals, thankfully. Shout outs to Austin FGC, you know, they're great. Good luck with the move. New venue is always great. First tournament back, you know, we'll be here to support. Cause some problems, upset some brackets, we'll be there.